So I know it's been a while, a year to be exact, and a little more than that. But I want to say that it was because of school, but looking back at it, I did have a lot of free time. Can't chalk it all up to be school. The good thing about school, or the good thing that came out of it, is that I learned vectors when I took calculus and vectors. So now I actually understand a lot of the stuff that I initially didn't last year. Anyhow, today's challenge was given to me by my friend Colin. It was just to make a placeable turret. I'll put it up on screen now. And make a placeable turret, I did. I'm going to go through all of the things that it does and what it correlates to in the script. So first of all, when you hold out the tool, it's just a gray cube. I should probably change that, but that's not relevant right now. So basically it just spawns a green circle. That's position gets updated depending on your mouse position. So if you click while it's green, and there are times where it can't be green, basically, if it's like inside of another part was the intention, it can't really be placed. I don't know why it's not applicable here. It's applicable there, and there, and there. But essentially, you're not supposed to be able to place it like in something else. And this barrier just doesn't count as that. I don't know why. But when you click, it places it down. And that just spoiled the next function of the turret. But when you place one down, you can place down a maximum of 3 before it doesn't let you place anymore. But these turrets, right, they have like a magnitude system, so the closer you get to them, it's gonna like, or like once you're inside their like little magnitude range, they'll track onto you and shoot. It doesn't fire an actual bullet, it just makes you take damage when you step in the range, right? Also, something I do have to fix is when I die, it resets the amount of turrets I can spawn. But it also doesn't destroy my original turrets. So if you die, you could just keep doing shit like this. And now we just get spawn camped. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll just go over those parts in the code. Alright, so the first script I have is a local script. And this local script correlates with a remote function in replicated storage. And it pretty much just gets the mouse. And it returns the mouse hit position when it's invoked. The next script I have is a server script. First of all, the mouse's remote function is defined here so that we could use it later in the script. So I have a marker. It's called placement marker. If I drag this into the workspace, you'll be able to see it. So this is the green circle that you saw was wherever my mouse was whenever I was hovering over the base plate. And so when you equip the tool, it puts the marker in the workspace. By the way, it's not this actual marker, it's a clone of it so that not only one person can have the marker. Anyways, it puts the marker in the workspace, it gets the mouse position, and then it makes the marker's position the mouse's position every 0.01 seconds. That's what caused the little latency you saw, where it was like kind of lagging behind. Because I have it on task.wait 0.01 seconds, because I don't want it to like bug out. I don't want it to run super fast, so that it like lags. But anyways, that's what causes the green circle to follow your mouse. And then this is the part that identifies whether I can place something or not. So I have a variable called turret spawnable, right? By default, it's true. It's looping through everything that's touching the marker. The second it's a part or a humanoid, so if it's a person or just any like block in the game, then you can't spawn it. Right now I have it so you can only spawn it on the base plate. So pretty much when it loops through, if the marker's touching the base plate, right, the marker's green, and turret spawnable is true. This allows the turret to be spawned. But if it's a part or a person, it's red, and that indicates to you that it can't be spawned, and it sets it to false. This should be in here as well. Now, when you unequip the tool, this puts the marker back in replicated storage so that like it's not visible anymore. Now, when you click with the tool, right, tool.activated, if turret spawnable equals true, aka if it's not in a person or if it's not in a block, and the number of turrets that you currently have spawned is less than 3, which by default it's at 0, and it adds 1 every time you place it, right here. If it's less than 3, right, so you're not over the max, and turret spawnable is true, and you're not fucking dead, right, because how can you spawn a turret if you're dead? Then it spawns a turret. It just clones the turret model from replicated storage, which I will drive into the workspace right now. And it's just this. It makes a clone of that, and then it puts your name next to it in the workspace, so that it's identified as your turret. This is so that when you place the turret, it actually places on your mouse position. This brings it 2 studs out of the ground. If I just made this 0, just to show you as an example, it would place directly on my mouse position, which would be inside of the ground, and that's not what we want. So if I make the Y value 2, it places it 2 blocks up, just like so. Oh wait, I forgot to go over the sound here. So I have 2 sounds. I have build success 1 and build success 2. I attributed them to 1 and 2, and math.random picks between these 2 numbers. If the number math.random chooses as 1, then it plays the first place sound, which is build success 1, and if it's 2, then it plays the second place sound. Alright, so basically what this does is first it checks if turret spawnable is true, and if the number of turrets is 3, right? So if you're at your max, then it's false. You can't place anymore. This means that you reach the limit, and this causes an error sound to play, which is just build fail. It's just that. Got it off the toolbox. If turret spawnable is false, right? So if it's like if the marker is red because it's inside a part or a person, and the number of turrets is less than or equal to 3, then it just tells you that the turret can't be placed there, and it plays the same error sound. So this is supposed to destroy the turrets, but I realized I made a fatal error here. So v.name has to be player.name concatenated place turret, because then I think it'll destroy. Let's see if that works now. Alright, because that's J alt place turret. No, it still didn't work. Okay. It's looping through everything in workspace. If the name of something in workspace is your player name underscore place turret, then it should destroy it. I don't know why this doesn't work. Someone's going to have to tell me. But pretty much what this is supposed to do is it's supposed to destroy your turrets once you die. Commenters, please. Alright, next script we have is another server script. So this is so that the turret can actually shoot you. This function, this is not something I thought of myself. I saw this on I think a random dev forum a while back. But I can explain it pretty well. So pretty much, math.huge is just a random super big number, okay? So first we set the current distance to the super big number, okay? That's going to be important later. So now it loops through everything in workspace, right? Game.workspace gets sentence. It works through it loops through everything in workspace, and if it's a humanoid, right? Because I don't want the turrets shooting parts or like blocks, right? So it makes sure that it's a player or like a person before shooting. If it's a humanoid, then the distance becomes the magnitude of the turret's position minus my humanoid root parts position, or like the target's humanoid root parts position. Damn, that's a mouthful. And that's just the distance between the turret and the player, okay? And if the distance, right, because this is what distance is, if the distance is less than current distance, which we set as math.huge initially, which it obviously is going to be less than that, because math.huge is super huge, and the distance between you and a turret is probably pretty small. So if the distance is less than or equal to the current distance, then current distance is now set as the distance. And what this does is that every time it loops through this, the distance is going to keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller until it returns the closest thing to the turret. And that's what the turret's going to target. This is so that if there's 2 people within the area of the turret, it shoots the closer person, right? Logically. Alright, so here I have 2 players set up. I'm going to have this guy place a turret. And now, this guy's going to walk in. And this guy's... Oh, I'm not in the range? Oh, that's crazy. This guy's closer, so he's getting shot, right? But if I take it a step further, I go closer than him, then I'm getting shot now. So real distance is just the distance between that closest character that this function returned and the turret position. So it's going to be the difference between those two, which is just the distance. Now, if the distance between those 2 things, this is actually unoptimized because it's just doing this every second. Every second it's looping through the entire workspace, which is not very efficient. So now, first of all, it checks, is the distance between the turret and the opponent less than 20 studs, right? Because that's like the magnitude range of the turret. And if it's actually a player, right? Because a humanoid could return a dummy. Dummies have humanoids, But this makes sure that it's not equal to nil, right? So if you get player from character, right, on a dummy's character doesn't have a player, so it's going to return nil. But a player has a player's character has a player, so it's not going to return nil. It's going to return an actual player. So basically, all this is saying is that it has to be less than 20 and it has to be a player. So if I place this next to a dummy, right, that's a dummy that has a humanoid. It's a character, but it doesn't have a player. It's not an actual. There's no person behind the screen, so he's not getting shot. But the second I placed it near me, now I meet the condition and I'm eligible to get shot by the turret. Oh, and it can't be a dead person. Your health has to be greater than 0. It doesn't shoot at dead people. No overkill. And then it makes the head of the turret, like it turns its C-frame towards the player, so that it actually faces the player when it shoots them, and it plays the shooting sound, and then they take damage. And that's pretty much it. I don't know if I was over-explaining. I don't know to what degree I used to explain things in my previous videos, but just let me know if I'm over-explaining. Once again, commenters, I could probably figure this out later, but if you want to get the jump on it, explain to me why this doesn't work. It's meant to destroy the turrets, but it's not doing that. Commenters, please help.